If we talk about message get, then the idea is that it either returns the message queue identifier for a newly created message, or it returns the identifiers for a queue which exists with the same key value. And the last but not least, which remains, I think it is message receive. And what it does, that messages are retrieved from the queue using this method. Okay, so these are the five functions that we are going to use in our example. So let's go ahead and let's do some practical example. So what we are going to do, that we are going to have two programs basically. One would be for writing process of the message. Okay, we'll write the message and we'll send it, and the other one would be for reading the message, and when we will send, the other one would be for receiving those messages. So first of all, what we would do, that even before the main message, would create a structure that we will use, and that structure would be for the message queue. Okay, specifically, so we'd write here struct, and then we write here message buffer or message queue. Okay, let's write here message buffer. That would be, it makes more sense. And then you can have here the brackets, and inside these brackets you can start writing your code and initialize the different arguments or different variables. So first of all, we need the message type, which would be of long type, and second of all, we need the text, and we would receive, actually we would put the text inside this character array. Okay, let's make it a size of 100 or maybe 200 or 500, let's say. Okay, minimum. So now after that, what we would do would come out of it, and we'd write here the name of it, and we'd write here message. After that, we'd come outside of the structure, and we'd write here message. Okay, so now we'd go inside the main block, and we'd try to right here initialize the specific variables that we need. So first of all, we need the key, okay, that we need to match as well in order to send the messages. Okay, so let me just make it a little bit here, and in here I'm just going to give it an integer value of the message ID. Okay, and the next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to use ftalk to generate the specific key. Okay, so for that, we'd write here key equals ftalk, and inside of that we would write here prog file. Alright, and then we'd write here, let's say 65. Okay, and then we put a semicolon here, and after that we would generate them, and after that we would use message get function, which would basically it creates the message queue and it would return the identifier. Okay, so now what we're going to do here, that we're going to write here message ID, okay, underscore ID equals message get. Okay, then we put here brackets, and in here what I'm going to do, I'm going to write here key, and then I'm going to assign it the permissions. All right, and after that I'm going to write here IPC, inter-process communication, create. Okay, and here we put a semicolon, and E is not the part of it. Okay, then after that what I do, I write here message dot me message type, then I write here message dot message type. Okay, that's what I'm gonna use from the structure, and then I put an equal sign here, and then let's say I give it a value as 1. Okay, so now what I would do, I would basically write here print statement, okay, printf, and I would please write data to send, okay. And then after that, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna basically get it, okay. So gets, I would write here the message dot message underscore text, okay. So I'm not gonna get the data now, okay. And after that, what I need to do, that I need to basically send the message now. So for that, I would use message send, okay. That is the function that I told you earlier. So I'm gonna write here inside of that, first of all, you know, we would have to have the message ID. That is very important. And after message ID would pass the second argument, and that would be this one, and message. So this is a kind of a pointer, okay. And then would basically write here size of message, and then as a for argument we would do nothing, so we will send null. So the last thing that we need to do, that we need to specify that which data is the data that we have sent, okay. So what we will do, would write here printf, and would write here that we have sent, and then we'd write here %s, okay, and then /n to go move on to the next line, okay. And I think we can do the same thing here as well, okay. And now we put a semicolon here to end the line, and that is it for this file specifically, okay. So this is the C program dot. So now we would create a second file in which would basically receive the data, okay. So we would write here, would basically copy this, and inside this second file would just simply copy paste this, okay, and we would make some changes in it. So here we can see message queue for receiving a message, okay, receiving message. And what we can do is that we can come down here and we can make a few changes here, okay. So everything would remain the same, just we would like to receive the message, okay. So for that, what we would do, that right after this, okay, we don't need to define the type here, okay, because this is about receiving the message, and we don't also need that, and we also don't need this send message as well. So now what we would do, that after this message ID, we have to write here message receive function that we would use, okay, message receive. Let me just remove that as well. I would, you know, write it later if I need any print statement. So I would write here message receive, and then I would basically pass it a few arguments. The first argument that I would pass, that would be message ID, okay. Then I put a comma here, and then I write here and message, okay, the pointer, and then basically I write here size of, and inside here I pass message, and then I put a comma 1, and then I pass null, okay. So notice that it has, you know, 5 arguments, okay. So the previous one, the message send, had 4 arguments. All right, so now what I would do, that I would simply print it, okay. So I would write here printf, and I would say the data received, or the message or data that we have received is, and then basically write here %s, and then as the variable we write here message text, okay. And before that we need to write here message dot message text, okay, because it is a structure, okay. So after that, what we have to do, that once we have got it, what we want, that we want to destroy the message queue. So if you want to destroy the message queue, then as we have discussed, we will use message control or message CTL, and in here we would basically pass 3 arguments, and we'd write here message ID, and then we'd type here IPC underscore RMID, comma, and then we pass the null value. Okay, or we can also do something like this. All right, so now we are all done. Okay, so this code is for receiving message, and this code is for send ID. Okay, then I put a comma here, and then I write here and message, okay, the pointer, and then basically I write here size of, and inside here I pass message, and then I put a comma 1, and then I pass null. Okay, so notice that it has 5 arguments. Okay, so the previous one, the message sent, had 4 arguments. All right, so now what I would do, that I would simply print it. Okay, so I would write here print f, and I would say the data received, or the message or data that we have received is, and then basically write here %s, and then as the variable we write here message text. Okay, and before that we need to write here message dot message text. Okay, because it is a structure. Okay, so after that, what we have to do, that once we have got it, what we want, that we want to destroy the message queue. So if you want to destroy the message queue, then as we have discussed, we will use message control or message CTL, and in here we would basically pass 3 arguments, and we'd write here message ID, and then we'd type here IPC underscore RMID, comma, and then we pass the null value. Okay, or we can also do something like this. All right, so now we are all done. Okay, so this code is for receiving message, and this code is for sending message. So let me just save both of these files, and remember that if we have 2 files, we have to have 2 terminals. Okay, so what we are going to do, so let me zoom out a little bit these 2 terminals, so that you can clearly see, okay, the difference. So in here I would run the C program file, okay, -o, and let's say tst,